Hi, my name is Alex Argento with BidSpec Sales. In this video, we're going to be talking about some concepts to know when selling to architects. Now, architects, when you're meeting with them or talking with them on the phone, for them to take the risk of using your product, unless it's already a really well-known product, or unless they're already using it, they're going to need to have some comfort with you that you know what you're talking about and that you understand their business, their customer's business, and just some general principles of construction and architectural design. So I'm going to go through a couple of these topics. There's certainly a lot more topics to know, but a lot of people who are good at selling to architects, they don't know everything they know. And so when they're trying to convey all this information to other people in their company or someone new who's training with them, they don't necessarily have all this information. So I'm going to go through some of the key concepts. Interested to hear your feedback in the comments below, what maybe I'm missing, and we can make this an iterative discussion. So first of all, it's going to be construction systems. Now, what do I mean by construction systems? Obviously, you don't have to know every element of a construction project and every inner working from concrete and moisture, thermal protection, etc. But for your product, you should understand your product and how it integrates with things around it. So if you're selling faucets, for example, you should know about sinks and number of holes and vanities and the supply lines and the overall plumbing feed, pressures, what the flow rates of those faucets are, what some of the options are, how that water is going to hit the sink. You're going to get all sorts of questions. That's just faucets. Think about drywall, mud, plaster, stucco assemblies. When you're selling stucco, you need to be aware of the moisture transference through that stucco, the perm rate or breathability. What is the assembly going under it? Is it a 5-layer system? What is the moisture protection underneath it, etc.? So construction systems and knowing the what's connected to your product is going to be immensely helpful, above and beyond just understanding your product well and all the nuances that an architect's going to ask. Sometimes you're going to be in a meeting or maybe even a presentation, and you're going to get that one guy who's going to be the devil's advocate and basically trying to make you look bad. So you want to have as much information as possible. Faking it till you make it does work sometimes, but the last thing you want to do is pretend you know an answer when you don't, because these are smart people who are going to be able to call you out and you can lose credibility quickly. Next is specifications. So specifications is a fairly complicated subject. You should know the relevant specifications for your products and understand the inner workings of them, what approvals, ASTM compliance are going to make your product unique. Specifications actually really a good sales tool. By having unique elements of your product and how they're written into specifications, that can actually help you sell against your competitors, because you may have certain advantages that your competitors don't have, and that can be outlined in the specification. So having a general working knowledge of the overall master spec or 3-part architectural specification system will be really helpful, and there's a ton of resources online for you to learn more about that. Next is going to be architectural drawings. So I remember the first time I was in an architectural meeting, and they pulled up some architectural drawings, and I kind of did the fake it till you make it concept, kind of trying to understand, pretend like I knew what was going on, looking at a plan or a section. So it's really good to familiarize yourself with some of the general symbols, icons, types of architectural drawings, whether they be more from a zoomed out view or more zoomed in views. Get some familiarity with them, study a little bit, again, as it pertains to your product. If you're selling a masonry product, understand elevations, understand the sections where it's going to break down what is behind that masonry, how it's fastened to the wall, etc. Next is going to be purchasing and submittals. Now, this is, of course, very important, because purchasing is how you make money when you sell your product. So how is the product purchased, and how do submittals works? A submittal, as a quick background, is going to be submitted by a subcontractor to a general contractor, typically, and then the architect or engineer is going to be reviewing those submittals to approve their use. So at that point, they can either approve or reject them. So it's going to be very helpful for you to understand the nuances of the submittal as it pertains to your product or perhaps your competitor's product, and why your product may be more applicable to that project. Again, a lot of resources online for that. We'll link to some in the description. But understanding that chain of approval is very, very helpful, because often you'll think that you have your job sold, but someone can swoop in and convince the sub or GC to submit their product, and you can quickly lose out that way. So having the documentation connected to your product be pretty locked up and airtight will make it harder for your competitors to jump in and take over that sale. Next is going to be key roles and relationships. So what do I mean by key roles and relationships? Pretty much all projects are going to have an owner and an architect. They're going to have a general contractor, and they're going to have subcontractors. And understanding the varying importance of who you're talking to at what phase, who you're selling to at what phase. Early on, it's going to be the architect and the owner. But as time passes, it's going to be the general contractor and subcontractor. And understanding some of the dynamics of the contractual relationships between the owner, architect, general contractor, and subcontractor will be helpful to you, especially how payment works. As a supplier, you're similar to a subcontractor in some ways. You have certain lien rights, you have certain other rights that can help you get paid, of course, but also help you understand when payments are supposed to happen, what sort of time windows you can expect to receive payments, and in general, how to understand the interrelationships between the general contractor and the subcontractors, and how the architect has the ability to approve payments for work that is completed. So that's a quick overview on general concepts to know. Again, we'd love to hear some more of your comments and opinions. Bid Spec Sales does a lot of marketing and other software technology to assist building product manufacturers and other entities in the construction industry to help grow their businesses. You can learn more about us through our various videos. We are currently doing this architectural sales series because there's a lot of information out there that people don't know. With some subtle changes in their processes, they could be a lot more successful. So we hope this is helpful, and we look forward to hearing from you.